go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Inspire Before We Expire show. I am your host, Terrell Sumter. Guys, I'm very grateful and thankful to see another day that's never a promise. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday had its obstacles, today has its opportunities. I just want you all to take some time as we start this show each and every week to close your eyes for just 5 to 10 seconds. And I want you to visualize, where do you see yourself in the next 2 to 3 months, guys? We're approaching 2020, guys, and I just want you to be prepared and to know that you may be in a space right now where you may not know where you're going, but you're never alone. The pain is never permanent, it's only temporary. So I want you to look and see that, seek that purpose, seek that calling, seek to prayer, seek to others, and help whoever you see with their head down, help lift them up, no matter the challenge, no matter the obstacles, no matter the circumstance that you was born into. There is a way for you, and there is a way to be successful. Guys, I have a very special guest on my show today. I mean, this gentleman here, me and him been connected. Connected actually via social media, and we just build a connection, a relationship, did some work together in business and everything like that. This guy's like a real brother to me, family and everything. And I really want to introduce you guys to him like as he should be introduced. This gentleman was born and raised in North Philadelphia. During much of his youth and young adulthood, he spent his time with foolish activities that often got him into trouble. When he was finally arrested, it made him realize that he could not spend any more time on those activities of his youth. So he decided that he did not want to go through the pain and suffering he had witnessed in others. And so he decided to begin his process of marketing. He used this degree to channel the creativity in his new job for several years, but found himself feeling frustrated and limited in the position he had. Wow. He has also creative and driven. He's also creative and driven. He loves to see the things he envisions become reality. He also lives according to his personal motto, the constant pursuit of progress. And this is a major element in what drives him as make his decisions for his future. Early on, this gentleman was lucky enough to have a personal relationship with an incredible, successful businessman who greatly admired and respected him. This man introduced him to reading about business and personal development, which was a great game changer for him. And this was learning from his mentor, his own personal drive for success that led him down his new pathway. The motivation led to create a part-time business where he partnered with a global company that offered him support services. Over time, he started to see the progress he was making, and it became addictive. Guys, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I just want to introduce you to loud and clear, my guy from Philadelphia, PA, originally, Mr. Joshua Cuevas. Josh, welcome to the show today, man.
Man, I need to take you everywhere with me to introduce me like that, man. Thank you. Before I say anything, I really want to give it back to you. I have a lot of respect for you. It's the reason I'm here. I love what you've been doing. I love what you're going to do. I love everything about, your mindset and everything about you, man. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about you, man. You already know anything I can do to help you, to serve you, to grow you, to build your platform, to whatever you need from me, I will always be there just because of who you are, not because of what you have to offer me, but because of what you have to offer the world. So I really, really appreciate you. And I hope your listeners appreciate you. And I know that, things like this right now, man, is exciting to me because I know in a couple years, I know in 5 years, in 10 years, people will see this and they'll see your beginnings and they'll see where you come from and they see how you started. And I know for a fact this platform will be one of the biggest, man. So thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Well said, man. I appreciate that humbly. Thank you, man. Josh, if you can, brother, I really would like for you to just dive down to your background and give us a little bit of your personal life, man. We'll appreciate that most importantly.
All right. I'm not sure how deep to get into it, but let me try to sum it up. Born and raised in North Philadelphia, like you said, you're familiar with the area, Philadelphia born and raised, and, like I know, it's just, it's rough, really poverty stricken. And, I don't like to dive too much into it just because I don't really like to be the type to try to say like, glorify how I was, or not even just like, I feel like some people just try too hard to have that rough bringing, that rough background. But, I mean, look, I'm not gonna say I was dirt poor, but we didn't have much. Anytime I had much growing up was because of stepfathers who weren't in legal activities but did well. My father actually was the first business owner, legit business owner that I met. My father comes from a background worse than mine. Grew up really, really rough and became a business owner, and that really influenced me, probably more than anything else growing up. But growing up, I saw my father have a business. I saw my stepfathers have their businesses. And then actually one of my other stepfathers transitioned and had an actual legit business, a little tire shop. I started my entrepreneur journey at like 11, 12 years old on a street called Germantown Avenue, which is a really rough neighborhood, selling dollar waters, right? Buying $4 packs, so 24 bottles, selling them for $1. Eventually expanding into lemonades, Minute Maid lemonades. And, I got a taste of making my own money, and I never went back. When I was young, I always wanted to do things for myself. I never had a job until I was older, just because I had the entrepreneur spirit. And when you grow up where we grew up, you don't have much options. I actually tried getting jobs. I remember trying, applying for jobs and trying to do things, odds and ends. And I couldn't get it. The only time I would kind of have work was here and there with my stepfather, or here and there with my actual father on the weekends or every other weekend. And, I would do what I had to do to make money. But I think one of the biggest influences for me growing up was, besides all the craziness, the violence, the drug dealing, the animosity that you get, especially in Philadelphia, there's a lot of aggression. I always grew up in a, predominantly African-American neighborhood. And I'm Puerto Rican myself and other Ricans, but, I always looked at white. I was always a skinny kid. So, I always had to defend myself. And I grew to understand with my aggression was a safety mechanism. And I grew up being very aggressive and kind of combative, because in that arena, that's survival. That's survival, right? That helps you survive and actually thrive. Actually, if you're the aggressor, if you're the ones that don't take anything from anybody, it actually suits you, which later on in life suited me in the business world in certain ways. And I'll get to that later. But anyways, came up, was running around, me and my friends, we weren't troublemakers, but we were definitely trouble finishers. Things came our way, and we just never ran away from them. We never shied away from trouble. And we just got into things that we shouldn't have, nothing out the ordinary. Ended up getting arrested, nothing out the ordinary when you come from where we come from and involved in those type of things. And like you said in the beginning, just kind of evaluating my life. I always knew that was the thing. My father, being a street guy himself, always said it was, hey, you're either going to die or go to jail. Right. And what's crazy, and I want to talk to anybody who's, a youth or anybody younger, is that, or to a parent talking to kids, because sometimes we reiterate things so much, it loses its meaning. It loses its value. And I think we need to explain things better than just having like these kind of sayings, right? Like these sayings to people like, hey, don't do this, don't do that, I think more in-depth explanations is very important. But anyways, that happened. Took a look at my life and what I was going to do. And at that time, I was actually in college. And, kept going the college route. Came out of college, got a so-called good job, salary job. And I was still broke. I was check to check, $100,000 in debt because of school. I was making more money than probably everybody else around me, technically, but I was still broke. And I actually continued activities I shouldn't have been continuing. And, through the grace of God and the universe and just having a made up mind. Right. And I know the power of that. I remember even when I was young and running around and doing things I shouldn't have been doing, I remember sitting with my friends, and I was that guy that was always talking that talk, like, watch, when I get older, watch, I'm gonna be successful. Watch, I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. So I believe I always felt it, and I always knew it would happen. So things aligned the right way. I came across my first mentor. He was very successful in real estate. probably about 40 years old. He was actually like a father-in-law figure in my life, and put me on the books. He actually put me onto a book my mom tried to get me to read years before that, but my mom.
What was that book?
It was actually Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
And I recommend that as the first book for anybody trying to get their foot in the door of personal development, because it explains a lot. He taught me that one. He gave me The Richest Man in Babylon, which is probably one of the best financial books you can ever read. He gave me some books about taxes, and and it led me down that path. And I think that's the important thing. I call him a mentor, but throughout the years, we've probably spoken maybe 10 times, over the last 8 years. And, that doesn't sound like much, but you got to understand, you never can doubt the power of a planted seed. And he planted that seed. He got me on the right track. And this is the thing, though. You have to be personally responsible, and you have to take the opportunities given to you, take the lanes given to you, and run with it. So I did that. And I never looked back. I don't think I never read a book, and I went to college. And, that year I probably read about 10 to 12 different books, and just kept going and kept going. And I just kept growing me. And like you said in the intro, my personal motto is the constant pursuit of progress, not perfection, but the constant pursuit of progress, because I believe progress is what makes humans feel fulfilled. I believe progress is exciting. I believe progress is something that you won't let your ego get to you, because you always feel like you can be better, and it's not for anybody else.
Right.
It's for yourself. So many times people talk about having a why, right? What is your why? Why do you do what you do? And why are you motivated? And you got to think about your why. And some people have very deep, meaningful ones. And honestly, I care about my family. I want to take care of my family. I already take care of them, actually. But I do want to do things for them. But my why is, I want to see how good can I be. I want to see how far can I go. I want to see how much better can I communicate? How much better can I speak? How much better can I improve my health? How much better can I improve the lives of people around me? So to me, progress, it's my thing. That's what I'm about.
I love that, man. I love the energy so far, man. And thank you for taking us down your journey, man. Honestly, I knew it was going to be a special one with you. So I appreciate that. And I'm sure my listeners listening to right now. And guys, if you're listening right now, please take notes and implement it to your life. And if somebody's not tuned in right now, just please share with them as well, guys. Honestly, it's all about paying forward. That's what I stand by is paying it forward. And that's what Josh stand for as well. As we talk about a gentleman really coming from the inner city of North Philadelphia, going through ups and downs, various ups and downs and things of that nature, but then really, really seeing that life was no longer for him no more, not just being arrested, but knowing it wasn't getting him nowhere, right? So, Josh, I know you spoke of mentors, and I'm big on that as well. Now, what was the conversation like when you came across this mentor that you said that helped change you and help you become who you are today? What was that conversation like? And what was the most valuable lesson you learned specifically from him as well?
Man, it's a great question. If I look back on it, I gotta say that I was open to it. Meaning, at that time in my life, I was already trying to transition out of, basically kind of being in the streets and trying to do something better with my life. And I was just open to his advice. I would seek it out because he had, and this is why I always feel, and I've spoken with you off camera about this plenty of times, about you have to become somebody people want to be like, and not in a fake way, in a genuine way. Your energy your aura, your actions, all these things should talk for you, right? But they should speak volumes, and they should be impactful for people when they come across you, when they hear about you, when they see you, when they're around you, they feel your energy, they see what you're doing, they know what you're doing. That now when you speak, you have an open ear, and at this time, when I met this guy, he's not even 40. He's a multimillionaire. He kind of has some leisure time, so he's not like, stressed out of his mind. He's doing well. And he was just such a humble guy, man, and a good guy. He wasn't like what you think about. Like when I was growing up, my image of a millionaire was like this, real cocky type of person and wouldn't even talk to you, and they don't deal with you type of people, because honestly, I never experienced racism, but I've experienced classism. I really, really, really understand that. So I had this image in my head of these people don't deal with my type of people, and it had nothing to do with race. It was all about class. So that impacted me. So he just gave me simple advices, man. It was just I had the open ear because of who he was. So that's why it's important to me to become somebody before I try to go and impact people and do things. I always felt like I need to go and do what I gotta do. Therefore, I can go and preach it. Therefore, I can go and actually be of value to people because I've done it and I'm doing it and I will continue to do it. So that's what impacted me, especially, where we from, man, we want to listen to people who's successful, That's why kids follow the drug dealers, because they think they got the money, right? That's why they follow these, people with celebrity and things, because that's who they follow. So I figure, hey, let me try to take that same influence and switch it around and actually give something worthwhile to people. But I want to have those things also, not just material things, but mental things, the aura, the energy, the authenticity. That's one thing big about me is, I talk to you about this all the time as well. Is I try not to ever speak about things that I'm not actually doing or have done. I do my best to stay away from those things. And if I do talk about it, I'll let you know, hey, I heard this from XYZ, or this is something I think that'd be good, but I do my best to just, live what I talk about.
Right. Indeed. I love that. So what was next for you, man, after meeting this gentleman, learning from him, implementing it all to your life, man, applying it on a daily basis? What was next for Josh?
Well, he started me, he's from DC. So This guy, I want to shout him out, Mr. Thomas Bateman. He was from Washington, DC, and him growing up in the 80s in DC, if you know anything about it, it was really, really crazy. So he has a similar background. So I figured, he has some good advice. So a lot of the advice he gave me, I think the biggest one was for me, was the people I was around. I always used to say, as long as I'm around, I'm around. Meaning, even if you tried to not spend so much time with those friends, not spend so much time in those inner circles or in that neighborhood, you're still, you know how it is where we live, you're 5 minutes away from everything. So one call, one text, anything, driving to a store, anything, you're in that vicinity all the time. So big thing for him was he showed me how to distance myself without turning my back on people. Because that's what I was worried about. I said, man, these people, they've been great to me. They love me. They care about me. They don't want to hold me back. I didn't have friends or family really necessarily saying, man, trying to bring me down. They were all supportive of me being better and all that because of who I've been in their life. But just by being around, break you down. You know what I mean?
So true.
The level of conversations aren't really progressing you. The level of thinking isn't really pushing you. The things that you're involved in any minute, every day, now that I'm out of that life a bit, distant, I think about how every day, all day was a possible, issue. It was either my freedom or my life was on the line almost every day. And that's how people in the inner city usually live. And, it's hard to thrive in that environment. So he helped me with that. And he just led me down that path. And then anytime I needed to, he was always there. if I needed him, which is big about mentors. You know, and here goes another thing about mentors. You got to seek your mentors out. Listen, do you think, why should somebody who lives like you, live like you want to live, do what you want to do, think how you want to think, he or she is who you would like to be like, why should that person have to chase you down, call you, check up on you, be responsible for your actions? Why? I don't get that. And that's the problem with people nowadays, I feel, is that they get somebody that they can call a mentor, or they're just waiting around for this magical mentor to appear and just change their life. When no, you gotta go out. You gotta, you talk to this person, text to them, message them, DM them, whatever. And if you do get someone that you already have in your life, call them and add value to them, actually. Hey man, is there anything I can do for you? What can I do to help you? Because most people, the relationship with their mentors, they have this take relationship. And I don't care what relationship you have with what person, it should always be give and take.
So true.
Even if that person is a giver. I heard a quote that said, givers have to set boundaries because takers rarely do. Takers just take.
So true.
And if you let them, they'll take you all the way down to nothing. They'll drain your energy, they'll drain your time, they'll drain your money, everything. So that was a big thing for me.
Right. So how do we get out of that? It's interesting that you said that people are always looking to take and not in place. They're not looking to put in, because somebody are always looking to versus, do it and implement. Not implement, but plan it inside. They're looking to just take. We have a lot of people that's in this world, man, just taking so much, from others and taking it for granted and things of that nature. And you and I could say we was like those people, also, so we know that feeling, but we grew out to not being there. So for my young people that's listening, man, right now, what would you say to them to not be in that no more, to help them get out of that stage and just be someone who gives back, man, who really is someone who really want to deliver the value, instead of just, taking free information, not implementing it, or just taking the people around them that's successful and they're not doing nothing with it to help them become successful. So if you can go ahead and dive in that'd be awesome.
That's hard for me to answer.
You got it.
The reason I say that is because it's a mindset.
Yes.
And the mindset of most of those people is a mindset of entitlement. I own several businesses. I employ, dozens of people. I worked with hundreds of people over the years. And man, everybody, I just see this weird sense of entitlement. Like people owe them. Like this world owes you. And that's why I love dealing with people from other countries, because they come here super grateful, man. They come here and they don't feel entitled. They know nobody owes them anything. And it's up to them to make things happen. And anything that anybody does for you is the cherry on top. Don't expect things from people. That's what I say. I don't expect much from anybody. If people do these things, man, that makes me just a cherry on top. That's just added to me. But I don't do things so that people can do it for me. I don't say things so that people can say things back. The other day I was having a conversation with someone, and we were talking about how sometimes I feel frustrated that, and your listeners are leaders. You're a leader. And as a leader, sometimes you'll feel, man, why I'm always got to be the one? Why do I always got to set the date? Why do I always got to make the first call? Why do I always got to reach out first? Why do I always got to be the one going the extra mile? Why do I always got to be the one to put money in my pocket? Why do you always, you wish other people were like you? Man, I just catch myself and I go, because you have to be.
Hmm.
You want to be a leader? I talk to myself. And you want to be the leader? Didn't you say you want to be in charge of the family?
Hmm.
Didn't you say that you want to impact people? Didn't you say that you want to lead people? This what comes with it. You know, you have to be the one. Whatever anybody else does, whether they reciprocate the energy, whether they reciprocate the actions, that's on them. It's all added. But besides that, man, just be personally responsible. And with that, you know, kill this sense of entitlement. When you kill that, everything, you're grateful. So if you have a mentor in your life, you're grateful for them, man. If you have people in your life like how I feel about you, I'm grateful for that. So anything I can do to serve you, I'll do. You know, and when you feel gratitude towards people, things, or situations, you want to give your time, energy, love, affection, anything, right? You want to give. So when you feel grateful, you automatically want to give. That's just usually what it is.
So true. And when did thank you, man. I love that. And when did your first business venture become, man? Like when did that happen, and what was the process like?
Man, like I said, I had got a job. I actually got my bachelor's degree in design and marketing, and I graduated college. And straight out of college, I got a job. And I think I've told you this, right, about that whole law of attraction manifestation thing.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in a park before I graduated, and in that park, it was in Center City, Philadelphia, and I'm like, man, I want to work around here so bad. And I would love to be on a top floor of a building with a view of the city. And I love contemporary, like modern design. So I wish I got these glass walls and nice colors and good materials. And man, I just, that's what I want. And about 2 months later, I found a job two blocks from where that park was, not even a block away, top floor, view of the city. We shared the office with modern contemporary architects, so the whole office was exact. I mean, everything I said, it was almost creepy. So that was one of my first tastes of manifestation. But let me say this really quick.
Okay.
Uh, Manifestation does not come without action. And the reason I got that job was because when I started looking for jobs, I put in Center City marketing jobs or Center City marketing companies. I actually started going to companies that weren't even hiring and saying, hey, can I just come talk to you guys? I like what you guys do. I love this company. I love this area. Can I just come in and just speak with you? And I did that. So it was, a little bit of manifestation, but it was a lot of actually deliberate action as well involved in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But so yeah, I got that dream job, and really quick I realized the dream job wasn't a dream job. I don't know if that even exists. Maybe it does for some people, but I had a great job. You know, I just, like you said in the beginning, I felt limited. You know, I was on a salary. I had a lot of freedom there, though. It was a creative job. It was fun, but I'm not a guy that you can, like I said, I need to keep progressing.
Right.
So I remember my second year there, they gave me a raise. They raised my salary, right? But then they forced me to put more money into my 401k. I now had benefits to pay for. I now had a higher tax bracket. I had all these things. So I actually walked away home with less money. And that rubbed me wrong. I said, whoa, I just put in more time to make less money. So my first business venture, one of my friends who's an accountant for the White House, he introduced me to, it was a network marketing company, and, it changed my life. At first, well, not at first, because at first I was super against it. I was against the industry. I was against anything like that. And, I had a bit of an ego, so I felt like, oh, I'm better than that. I'm not going to be doing those things. Until a few months in, I really did my real research. I really looked into the industry. I really looked into what the company I was involved with actually did and offered the people in it. And I was like, oh, okay, this is the real deal. And I started part-time, and my first month I made more money part-time than my full-time job. And that's powerful, you know, when you can make more money part-time than in full-time that you did 4 years of college, $100,000 in debt for. It does something to your psyche.
Yeah.
So I just kept going. I kept going. After my first year, I was able to quit my job. And what's crazy is I now think it was a bit of a mistake because I should have just ran with that company and continued to go hard. But I started to divvy my time up again. I actually started a different business. I started a paving company. I partnered up with somebody I actually met through one of the network marketing meetings. And because I made myself a valuable person, people started to want to work with me. So started that venture and was doing okay, but I failed major. Lost everything I worked for. You know, when you got a stable job, even though you're not making that much money, you can count on that money coming every week. And, you know, my credit was great, car note, all these things. And when you have a business, your business becomes a baby, right? And if it's between you eating and the baby eating, who you think gonna eat? The baby. So, you know, lost the car, lost the house, lost everything, was down in the dumps, had problems with my partner, learned a lot, but it didn't work out. And ended up starting on my own again and just went into construction.
How did you overcome, bro? I think that's important. I ain't mean to, you know, cut you off, but like you say, and I felt that coming because I know you're one of the strongest human beings I know. And, you know, like people look and they're like, oh man, this man's successful, boom, boom, boom. But they don't see that this man also was at the very bottom of, you know, to get to where he's at and still growing. So how did you overcome, man? I think the people really need to hear that.
Well, and especially that's why, man, I really, you know, I gotta say I owe a lot to the network marketing industry and especially the company we work with, a company called ACN. Man, the personal development that you get in there, it becomes an arena. You get what I mean? So you kind of you're in this arena where you can actually flex those muscles that you otherwise won't flex. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they taught me a lot about being persistent, being strong. You know, I really committed to it and I really soaked in the information they provided. And those tools, they kind of equipped you with these mental tools. And that helped me because I would always just look for it. Anytime I was stressing and struggling, I would sit down and I would put on a video or read a book or talk to myself and say, this is part of the story. This is part of the story. This is part of the process. This is what you got to do. But I always knew, hey, it's still up to you to take the actions, to do the things that you need to do. So I just pushed forward because I always push forward, bro. I've been taking care of myself, making my own money since, you know, I was about 13, 14 years old. So, you know, I never really looked left, never really looked right, never looked for somebody else to take care of me. I just kept moving. That you know, that was my motto before I knew it was my motto. Was progress. Just keep pushing. Because I remember being in college and stressing. Man, I remember being in college so stressed out. I got a stomach ulcer from the stress. But being in college, I would talk to myself and go, when you get out, you're gonna get the job. And that was but I had to always look forward. Man, don't worry. You're on the right path. You're doing the right things. Just keep going. And, you know, unfortunately, school, you know, for me and just that situation, it had its benefits, but it wasn't the right path necessarily for me. But I kept that same train of thought. You know, every time I was down and out, I wouldn't allow myself to be down and out, man. You can't, you know, like I told you, man, like you have this little voice in your head and, you know, I'm going to not say the way I want to say, but it's a little punk voice, right? Little punk voice. And it always is talking to you. Don't do this. Don't feel that. And it kind of pushes you towards negative thoughts and feelings for some reason. It leans that way more than positive. So you got to be able to be like I said, I grew up aggressive. So I talk to myself very aggressively. But I got to talk to myself and like, hey, don't be no punk. Hey, you're a coward. You just gonna let circumstances dictate how you feel. You just gonna fail. you're just gonna let yourself, like, so I talk to myself, and I always tell my team members or anybody, I say, hey, listen, if I talk to you the way I talk to me, you would hate me. Because I talk rough. But
Yeah.
that helps me, because that's how I need to talk to myself. I need to check myself. I need to be like, hey, no, you BSing right now.
Yeah.
You're not doing what you need to do. So
Accountability is always key.
personal account, man. If I could wish one thing on society, it would be that, man. Just personal accountability, man. Like, I feel like most relationships fail because there's always you not doing this or you're doing this. It's never, hey, what am I doing? What are we doing? And most people just want to blame. Oh, it's because I'm poor. It's because where I grew up. It's because I'm black. It's because I'm Spanish. It's because I'm this. It's because I'm that. Listen, are those things factors? Absolutely. But so what? So what? You know how many people I've seen that were parents of a bunch of kids, single parents, and still got success because they were hungry and they're disciplined and they made things happen. You know how many people come from where we come from who, didn't have anything. They come from worse situations. People come from other countries where they don't even have toilets or clothes or roads or water, and they still come and do something. So, to me, there's no excuse, and that's actually a big thing too. So if you feel you don't have that, go look at other people's stories. Go search other stories of hardships, so what real hardship is. Go look at people who actually, let's say they had the same situation you had, but they took that situation and they won with it regardless. Because then you eliminate that feeling and that thought of it's just you're the only one going through it. If you think you're the only one going through it makes it a lot harder. Like all the books I read, all the stories I heard in those books helped me, because I said, oh, this person went through it. This person went through that. This person went through that. This person went through that. I'm just going through what they're going through. And then, hey, they came out on the other side like this. Oh, that's all I got to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that, man. That makes a lot of sense. And I love that you reference others from different walks of life and from other countries as well, because, you've seen that, you've witnessed that, and it's happening every day. But that's why you have people, like us who are real leaders, but we follow other leaders as well to make more of a real impact or so. So that's why I was going to ask, man, my next question is, why is it important to you, honestly, man, to be a service to others, man? Like, why is that really key to you?
Because I believe it's important to everybody. I believe if everybody deep down thought about what makes them feel the best is when they help other people. That's why you see these really wealthy people who get rich, and if they did it in a way that was sleazy, that's why they're depressed. That's why they're not happy. That's why they're this. That's why they're that. That's why, a lot of people, they're not really helping other people, and that doesn't feel good to not help people. Like, even when I was younger, I was that guy. I like to, hey, even if I was broke, I got $5. Hey, look, let's go get a burger. I got you. Whatever. I always liked to help people. I always liked to do something for people, and for me, it meant a lot, especially when there was, like I said, because I never needed anybody to do things for me, and I was so grateful when people did. It kind of upped the ante of when people did things for me. I was so grateful. Once again, when you're grateful, you want to, how you said, pay it forward. Somebody do something for you, you want to do it for somebody else because of how it made you feel. So to me, service to others, besides just being in a good book, probably one of the best books you can read about success is actually the Bible, whether you're a Christian or not. It's a lot of great things, especially the book of Proverbs. And yeah, man, it's helping other people just is almost like my selfish desire is to help other people. because it makes me feel better than any check I've ever received. It makes me feel better than anything else. And I think what's important about service to others and that feeling is fulfillment. That's one thing I hope we get to dive into, is that,
Yes.
you know, success without fulfillment is failure. And, you know, I believe that any opportunity, anything I do, I make sure that money is not just the only objective in the outcome. You know, fulfillment has to be it. I want to get to the end of my life, and you know, maybe the impact of, you know, I didn't really get to talk about it, but you know, I think you know, I had 3 older brothers who passed away. You know, I'm not gonna say passed away, because passed away sounds like, you know, it was their time. They were all killed in separate situations. I've lost, you know, close to 7, 8, 9, probably 10 if I really count it, or more, friends and people I grew up with, or just people around me that were killed. And that helped me grow a healthy mindset of appreciation for life. And it also helped me look back and go, man, they're gone. And nobody really cares that much. So because of that, I always thought about, okay, you know, one day I'm gonna go. You know, we all go. And what are those last moments going to be like? Are you going to go, oh man, I messed this thing up? Or are you going to have a sigh of relief? You know, I actually live my life based on the last few seconds of my life. I want to be able the last few seconds to just take a deep breath and go, I did it. You know, and know that what that means is I was good to people. Nobody can say I backstabbed them. Nobody can say I ever did them dirty. Nobody can say I ever tried to cheat them or steal from them, or betrayed them, or anything of that sort. That people know, you know, when they think about my memory, that it's a good one. That is one that matters. It's one that they can look back and smile on, just like the people I care about. That I can look back and smile on. You know, that means that's why helping other people means a lot.
I love that. That was deep, bro. Honestly, man, that was real deep. Like what you went over, like all honesty, man. Just even talking about, you know, how, you know, you have these brothers and, you know, they're still here in spirit, you know, but then you lost several friends. You lost yourself in the process one point in time in your life. And people have to understand it's bigger than us. You know, it's much more bigger than us. It's about the people that's looking down. We got angels watching over us. When we sometimes feel so overwhelmed or we feel tired and stuck, we got these people that's going to push us even forward and things of that nature. So I think that's big that you mentioned that, because I know there's a lot of people that's listening right now can also take heed and also relate to that as well, where some people may be in tears. I've heard some messages where people like, man, that was something big that Josh said, man. Like, honestly, that really related to me. Or something about, you know, the Richest Man Babylon book, or something that he said about just overcoming and, you know, and getting introduced to a mentor. He introduced him something big, and, you know, it helped you transition to be the successful businessman you are today, you know, and taking care of family, you know, that's big. And I mean, so honestly, man, I thank you, bro. And I wanted to take some time, man, which I do every episode, to just show some gratitude towards you, honestly, because I'm gonna be real with you guys, man. I was kind of like, you know, it's been a day and I was tardy, and my guy was nothing but patient, man, with me, you know, honestly, you know, and I really appreciate that. But also him just being present, him showing up to the full effect. I know this is impacting him. I know it's impacting his support, you know, people that's in his office right now, impacting people, my listeners. It's just impacting the world. I know this is going to be a message that's going to really fulfill you, you know, especially with the things that Josh went through and how he was able to, you know, go through it as a man and still come up on the other side, you know, as well. And I think this is very valuable for you guys really to not just implement, but to also plan into action and really put in place in your daily life as well. So I think is big, man, you know, to really have an interview like this, a conversation with men and things of that nature, to show that it doesn't matter where you come from. It matters that how well you can connect with one another and make nothing into something. So I thank you, bro. Honestly, I wanted to continue, man. Honestly, I'm really enjoying this. So I thank you though, man. So like your day-to-day basis, bro, like what's your day-to-day basis? Like what's some routines? I like to dig deep into routines and things of that nature because we know that's a big part too. So, what's something that you really do on your day-to-day basis, man, that keep you going and keep you growing and just keep that energy just flowing?
Yeah, well, I mean, you've interviewed people, successful people, and I'm sure you've asked. And, to me, I think most really successful people have a pretty similar morning routine. You're up early. I try, and I say
How
try,
early? How early?
I try to get up at 4 a.m.,
Oh
4:30.
man.
Um, First thing I do is I gotta listen, and let me preface that with I hate waking up in the mornings. As far as I was always the sleep in person. I loved it. My dream was I just want to be able to sleep in. And actually, once I got to a state where I don't have to wake up early and I would sleep in because my business would grow at later times, and you don't feel good. You feel sluggish. You feel unproductive. You kind of feel lazy. So I had to force myself once again through reading and studying other people. I learned about these morning routines. So I wake up early. I try personally 4:30, 5 o'clock, just because I try to get somewhere by a certain time. Then I try to get to the gym, or before that, actually, I'm sorry, I jump in a cold shower. I heard about the benefits. Once again, it's not something I like. It's not something that I want to do, but it's something that you need to do. And you have to understand what makes people successful is not doing what they want to do and like to do, is doing what they need to do.
Hmm.
You do what you must. So after I jump in a cold shower, my whole body is just alert. Imagine, right? I mean, your whole body instantly wakes up. So that grogginess fades away. Then I try to do minimum. If I don't make it to the gym, get my 50 to 100 push-ups, try to do some sit-ups, some exercise, get the blood flowing. But right after that, if that's all you did, I guarantee you'll feel so good. But then I try to read. I'll try to read something, at least 10 pages to a chapter um, of my favorite book. I'll try to read a proverb in the Bible. Like I said, I'm not a super Christian and I won't act like I am, but I love those passages. I'll try to read something there, and then I meditate. I just try to give myself 10 minutes to do my little affirmations, right? Try to visualize the day, plan it out, and then I try to just be quiet. So after talking to myself and doing all that, I heard a quote that said, uh, prayer is how you talk to God, but meditation is how he talks to you.
Hmm.
So some
Powerful.
we can't hear God. We can't, whatever your interpretation of God is, whether it's the universe, whether it's internal, whatever, there is this force and these things and this life in our head and or reality, whatever that comes to you, but we're so busy, we never quiet to listen.
Hmm.
So, even if it's 10 minutes, even like you didn't, I love that in the beginning. I actually, you helped me in this beginning when I closed my eyes when you said that. And just be quiet. Just
Hmm.
let things come to you. And at first, for most people, it's weird because your mind is not saying good stuff. It's
Hmm.
saying stupid stuff. It's like, hey, you got to pick up the kids. Hey, you got to go get this. Hey, I'm a little hungry. Hey, I'm thirsty. Be patient with yourself, but because you'll start that way, but then your mind starts to learn to quiet itself, and you start to get things. You get these inputs. You get this thought. And even if it's just a peace of mind, that's valuable. So imagine before you even start your day, it's
Hmm.
probably 6:30, 7 o'clock. You did all that. Most people just getting your day's bound to go a little better than most people.
Hmm.
So I try to do my morning routines, and then I have my office, and I'll come into my office, and even if I'm working from home and I'm not coming into my office, I just try to isolate and get the day going. One thing too that I've implemented is planning my days out before the day. Because if
Hmm.
you think about it now, if I sat down and I didn't have a plan, now I have to sit there and plan for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours what I'm going to do. Versus if I did this the night before, now I can sit and just execute,
So true.
and you can become more productive. And that's one thing I really learned about successful people is that you know it's not that they have more time, it's that they do more valuable things with their time. You know, and it's not being about being busy, it's about being productive. You know, the actions you take need to produce results that you're trying to produce, you know? Yeah, what if we go to the gym and just chill, walked around, just kind of walked on the treadmill, lift a few weights, 5-pound weights here and there. It don't matter if you spend the whole day in there. That's not productive. You know, you can have a better 30-minute workout if it's intense, if it's focused, if it's, you know, intentional, than somebody who's there for 3 hours. So, you know, and then I just continue the day that way. I try to execute on the day I planned out previously. You know, listen, in business, no day's the same. You constantly faced with problems. And if you don't mind, I think we should touch on problems.
Absolutely. I was gonna let you talk, and I was just about to dive in on something, man. You read my mind.
Because, man, I was a worrier back in the day. Meaning, you can give me an electric bill that I couldn't pay, and I would be stressing for 2 weeks about it. I mean, it was something, or something so silly. A flat tire, you know, would ruin my week. And, you know, I had to learn that, listen, you're either coming out of a problem, in a problem, or going into a problem. Life is a series of problems, and you have to learn to be a professional problem solver. And, you know, successful people just solve bigger problems. They solve problems more frequently. And, you know, when there is a problem, they don't focus on the problem. It's really similar. It's really simple. You don't focus on the problem, you focus on the solution. You know, because where your energy goes, everything flows. So, you know, if you're thinking about problems, guess what you're going to get more of? Problems. Indeed. How can you figure out a solution if you're thinking about the problem? So you always got to be thinking about the solution to the problems. You always. I tell my team that, I tell my employees that, I tell everybody. Okay, they come to me every day. They're coming to me with a different problem. I'm like, well, don't come to me with the problem. Come to me with the solution, or at least an idea of trying to solve the problem. You know, whether, hey, this is the problem, you deal with it. You know, so you know, problem solving, and this is why those morning routines, and, you know, having that little voice you can shut up in your head, that little punk ass voice. So is important, because you have to know that you can be disciplined over yourself. See, when you do those little things, I call them little wins. You know, when you wake up early, just let's just say you wake up early, and you get out of bed when you don't want to, and I don't have to get up early. That's the crazy thing. But when you do that, that's a win. Right? Then you go drop down, do push-ups until your body's screaming at you. That's a win. You go jump in that cold shower. I sometimes 5 minutes before, I'm just staring at it like double dutch. You ever see people jump rope? You're like, okay, man, later. And then you just do it. That's a win. You know, you sit down and read. That's a win. So you got to know that you can win over that little voice, you know, so that helps through the day.
So true. I love that, man. Perfectly said, too. Honestly, turn your problems into solutions, people. Honestly, because there's going to be plenty of issues, but there's always
to it.
There's always a solution. Every day is a challenge, man. You know, but this is what makes us stronger men and women in this world, and being able to really be providers, caretakers, and givers, and grow each other throughout the process. I wanted to ask though, bro, being an owner of several businesses, you know, we know it didn't happen overnight. What do you feel like the biggest mistake you made thus far to help people that's also following a similar path not do the same? You can be completely vulnerable.
Owning several businesses. One mistake, and like I said, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a mistake. I'll say, because in retrospect, if I look back, right, once again, I'm always about my potential. And I was always taught, remember, when we grow up, we got to deprogram ourselves from all the stuff we were taught by people who don't really know what they were doing anyway. You know, a lot of people gave us advice and told us what to do and how to do it. They didn't even have it figured out, you know, but you listen to these people. So I was always taught, you know, my mom, I love her to death, but she was always a multitasker. She always was in this and involved in that and had this going on, that going on. And and I was a hustler, and everybody around me, they were hustlers. They had this going on, that going on, there, you know. I sell tires and I sell this and we got this, we got that, and I thought that was impressive. Somebody that can do a lot of things, the jack of all trades, as people say. Until I realized that, to live up to your full potential, you have to be a master. So there's a quote that says, "The jack of all trades is the master of none."
Mm.
Somebody who's doing a lot of different things can never master one thing. And, no matter how disciplined or, they can do things, but unless you're Elon Musk, I haven't seen another great example, and besides that, so that's what I think. I just feel like I wish, and I would have just dove into one thing and only that, and blew that as big as I could, and then you diversify. So that's my advice to people: is try to, if you want to really go big, because like I said, I've done well. I do run my things, what you would call successfully. But if you want to go big, the way I'm planning to go soon, my time and attention is going to go to one thing only. And that's my advice to people: is, pick something. And I would like to talk to this point, if you don't mind. Choose something worthwhile. And I think people don't understand what I mean by that. I'm not sure if you necessarily know what I mean by that. I feel like when I evaluate an opportunity, I evaluate it, right? And most people look at an opportunity as money. That's a factor, but it's not the ultimate factor. I believe there's different factors. I believe money is definitely one of them, right? Like, you don't want to feel limited to how much you can make, right? That's a big thing. But I also think about, okay, is this something that's going to produce the life I want? Like, I'm in real estate and all that, and all these internet guys talk about real estate and all that stuff, and how you can make money from the beach and all that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do. All power to them. But for the most part, everybody I know who makes millions in real estate, they work their butt off. In construction, you work your butt off. People who make millions, you still work really, 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 really hard. And it's a constant stress, and it's not really fulfilling. So, let's just eliminate real estate or all that, or even stocks and all that, because people always talk about how you can just make money in the stock market. And listen, man, let's just eliminate that too. There's nothing you can do that's just, you're going to just lay back on the beach and collect checks without putting work in. Mm-hmm. But there are things that do render you money down the line if you put the work in. So that's something I evaluate. Okay, if I put the work up front, will it continue to pay me later? That's one thing I look at. I look at who am I going to become out of this? Am I going to be a stressed out, miserable, angry person? Or is this going to be something that's going to push me towards progress? I think about, is this something that I can help others do? Like in real estate, if I go make a lot of money, I made a lot of money. I didn't really help nobody, And yeah, I could talk to you all day about real estate, but these guys that talk about you need no money, from my experience, I haven't learned it, and I've done all right with it. You need money. I don't care what, even if it's a small amount in comparison to hundreds of thousands, let's say 10, 20,000, you still need money, So not everybody can get into that game. Stocks, you have to be very knowledgeable if you want to succeed, because for the most part, it's a gamble. And I own stocks, but you can't teach everybody that. And not just that, not everybody has money to put in. So a lot of things like that. I think about, can I help other people? Can it scale? Is it duplicatable? Can others do it? And can I get leverage in my business so that, yeah, I'm not stressed? You know me, Rel. I travel very often. And I'm not one of those guys that try to act like I'm on the beach every week, but I travel often. And hey, if I don't want to do something, I don't do it. If I want to do something, I do it. And that was important to me, to never feel stuck and never feel like a slave, even to a business. Because people will talk about, oh, slave, 9 to 5 is a slave. No, there's some 9 to 5s where you're not a slave. But business owners also are slaves. There's a lot of business owners I know who their business will crumble and crash if they're not there all the time. So what's the point of that? What's the point of you making all that money if you can't do anything? And when you do, you're stressed out because you left for a few days and you know the house is burning down, basically. You know what I mean? So I think about that. I think about another thing is a big thing is the growth in the process. And I think one of the big things for me is, can I grow it traveling? Like as far, you know, can I do business in other places? You know, I want to be able to go to Europe and be able to do business there, learn the culture. I want to be able to go to Mexico, Colombia, all these places around the world. And that's why, you know, I truly love network marketing, because it allows me those things. I love all types of businesses. I'm a businessman, you know, but, you know, to me, worthwhile. You know, I looked at all those things and I said, okay, I know if I do X, Y, and Z, that's what my life would look like. I'm all in.
I love that, man. That's amazing. It's interesting that you said some key points where, you know, dudes do be making it seem like they're just on the beach and, you know, things of that nature. It's like, you know, why not show the nitty gritty? Like my man Josh really tearing down houses, but he also traveling the world. He doing some other things. He, you know, but the way you just broke it down and just being accountable of certain things that happened in the beginning that you learn from, and things that still may happen, but you know how to just still keep things going and growing.
Man,
You know, while also employing people too. I think that's a big point too, because now you're not necessarily giving them a handout, but you're giving them a hand up, you know, to allow them to know that, listen, once you get to this status, now you can employ people and stuff like that. So, you know, what's that like though, man? Like just, you know, just employing people, man. Like, what is it like to you? Like, how does it feel to really just have a good amount of people working under you and knowing that you guys are really working as a team and just growing this business, growing each other and making money, traveling, but most importantly, taking care of that family too. So what is that like, man? How does that really feel to you?
Um, I take a second because I want to be very reflective on this. I don't really think about it, but you know, it's a gift and a curse. Meaning, you know, the hardest thing, I've seen a lot of crazy things in my life as far as rough things. Growing up where I grew up, right? You see a lot of crazy, crazy things. And a lot of devastating emotional things. And to this day, I can honestly say one of the most devastating things for me to see is people not live up to their potential. To see people quit on themselves. And that's why I say there's a gift and a curse, because when you got those people that run with the opportunities that you give them and they take advantage of them and they employ the information you give them and they execute on the things that, you know, your leadership is teaching them, that's a great feeling, man. Oh man, that feeling is undescribable. But when you get people who don't, and they have every ability, every advantage, they can do it, but they don't, man, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts. But like I said, earlier, I can't worry about what you do with what I give you. All I can do is be responsible for my end. My end is to provide opportunity, to provide leadership, to provide guidance if I can in any way. But it's up to the people to take it. And, you know, having all these employees, the biggest thing about it and feeling is the leadership, man. You know, like I really seen the impact of being a leader, you know, like, you know, you gotta, especially with men, especially like my construction stuff and real estate, you're dealing with, you know, rough guys, right? Rough men all the time, and, you know, really egotistical, prideful men. So you have to really know how to navigate those things and and not only be strong so that they can want to follow you, but be respectful, you know, be a great communicator. I think if there's anything I've learned, the biggest skill that I feel anybody can learn that will have the biggest impact in their life, not just in business, not just in their job, but I'm talking about relationships, from friends, from girlfriends, everything, boyfriends, whatever, is communication skills. And I'm going to recommend a book that was recommended to me by a self-made billionaire. It's called Crucial Conversation, Talking When the Stakes Are High. And it really breaks down how to have a conversation that's important, because that's the problem nowadays in our society. People just don't, they either avoid it because it's a scary conversation, and then avoiding a problem just ends up, making it worse, or they go about the conversation in the wrong way. You know what, bro? I didn't like when you said XYZ. Man, screw you, man. Don't talk to me like that, right? Versus, hey, bro, man, I want to talk to you. We were talking the other day, and you said something that, I didn't really agree with. And I wanted to know why you said that, because I wanted to let you know I felt some type of way about it. And I think we should be able to talk about it, because I don't want us to have hostility in this. And I want you to be able to feel good when we're able to work together or whatever. So, did I say something to do something? And, are we able to talk about this? Stuff like that. Sometimes I get clients, I get, agents, you get all these people that you deal with, they're yelling at you. And, the way I used to react was, you snap at me, I snap back.
Right.
But now I've developed some filters, right? I got a couple tiers. And I've realized just, hey, take a step back and go, hey, am I yelling at you? Am I being disrespectful to you? No, but da, 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 da. Well, look, can we have a conversation? If we can't, let's just end this now. And then most times, they come down. Not saying, hey, you need to chill. Because saying something like that is, it's a little defensive. And they'll, what, don't tell me what to do. And so just point being, effective communication is probably one of the biggest skills I advocate, and is learnable. I was the worst communicator. If you knew me 6, 7, 8 years ago, oh my God. I remember my mentor telling me, man, one day you're going to tell people how you were and they won't believe you. And I find myself in that day now, because if you only knew, I think some of the closest people to me, like my mother and my sister, they're probably the only ones that could truly testify to that fact.
I love that, man. Honestly, I can agree too, man. Communication is key. And one conversation changes the communication between one. Honestly. And I thank you for really going through that. Well, really touching on that, because that's a big point, and people need to open up and get out of their shell and stuff like that. They need to stop, feeling like just because of the people you could just talk to them, but connect, network, meet other people, get to learn different things, travel places, small or big. Every day is a learning ability to unlock that integrateness. Something I always say, you know. And Josh, I've really been enjoying you so far, man. Just this whole interview, because you break it down so simple, so plain, so the way that people can really take in and to know that, damn, let me get off this couch, man. Let me get going and stay consistent with it. Let me go ahead and just continue to keep building. Let me continue to get my people from out the trenches and employ them too, because I've seen it what you're doing. The people you grew up with, you've helped them get opportunities too. You've put me on to certain things too as well. I've learned some things from you. So, guys, you listen to a real deal like businessman, gentleman who's really doing some amazing work in the communities across the country, and just much more to come, honestly, towards leading a legacy for his kids to come, to really being able to, grow by as well. So, Josh, I wanted to ask you, man, I know you spoke a lot about growing up in the city and stuff like that, man, and turning your life around and things of that nature. If you can go ahead and, man, and write a letter to your younger, let's say 20-year-old self, man, what would that letter be like, man?
Man, that's a great question. Wow. I don't know. Man, I don't even know. I don't know what I would say, honestly. I mean, I would say believe bigger, quicker.
Mm.
I always had big beliefs, but now I see that they weren't what I could have done. That would be one of them. And then I would also talk about I don't know, man. It's hard because I'm gonna be honest, at my core, I was always who I wanted to be.
Mm.
I always was true to myself. You know, even if my actions weren't reflective of things of who I wanted to be as far as like in the outside world and as far as like status and money and things like that. But as a man, even as a child, as a boy, I always was true to me. Like I really believe, you know, it'll be hard to find people that you could say can have a really genuinely negative thing to say about me because I try not to be that type of person. And now the negative things I did, maybe the people I did it to, they'll have some things to say about me.
Mm.
But for the most part, I mean, I just try to be true to me all the time. So I would just tell myself that. Keep being true to you, man. And you know what? That will probably be the biggest thing because we all worry about what people think of us. You know, I hate when people say, "Oh, I don't care what people think." That's a lie. We
Mm.
all do.
Mm.
Whether it's in a bigger scale or a smaller scale, we all care about how people look at us, you know? And I would say, you know, just do your best to not care that much because the things I would dwell on that I would worry people would think weren't important.
Mm.
So they weren't important to that moment. So what I mean is I would tell myself, hey, don't worry what they think now.
Mm.
Because there were people I cared about what they thought, and I still do. But I was worried about what they thought in the moment.
Mm.
So for example, when I went on the entrepreneurship journey, my dad was my worst enemy, basically. I
Mm.
mean, he was against me doing it. And I never could figure out why, because he was a business owner. And I think it was because he owns a moving company. And when the economy fell, he went from doing well to really bad and struggled. And he kind of struggled a lot. So I think he wanted me to have that security. And when I quit a job to pursue this business, he was like lost. And then I was broke for a while. So he was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I was so worried about things like that, people like that in my life that I cared about their opinion. And I had this internal fight. Am I doing the right thing? Should I go? What are are more people going to think about me like I'm stupid or am I doing it? So I just would tell myself that, man. Worry less about people's temporary thoughts. And if you care about what people think that much, which most of us do, put yourself in your future position of the things that you're doing. Say, hey, once I do this, this is how they're going to think. This is how they're going to look at me. You know, my grandfather, who's like a father to me, he was
Mm.
another one who was like, what are you doing? You know, my grandfather makes no money. My grandfather's poor, poverty for real. And I would have to borrow $5, $10 sometimes from him to eat. And I was very embarrassed by that. And, just the other day, I'm able to do things for my grandfather now that, you know, I never thought, or I did think about. And now he's like, oh, now he's super proud. Now, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I'm glad you brought your grandpa up, man. I know you really, really, that's like your best friend, man. I know you really
Man,
have a great relationship with him. I know we had some conversations. You always mention your grandparents, man. Honestly.
mhm.
So what's that one conversation you and your grandpa really had, man? That's something that just really stayed in tune with you to the day. I know it's been many, but just that one key conversation that you guys just had a, deep conversation on life, business, whatever it may have been, and just something you could share with the audience that could be valuable for them to take in.
Man, this was recent. This was the other day. It was actually on his birthday, right? I had many, like you said, we had many conversations. But the other day, and I think this is a big thing. Like I said, communication, man. Like, some of us, we don't even know our family. Like we don't know them.
Mm.
we don't really know them. We know their habits and, how they act on a day-to-day, but we don't know them.
Right.
And we don't take the time. Like, think about it, right? Like, think about your family, your uncles, your grandfathers, your mothers. Do you ever sit and just talk to them and ask them questions? Rarely, right? And if you do talk, you're talking about a topic.
Mm.
You're not talking about them. So I sat with him for a while. We were actually on the way to my sister's house, and she was running late. So we had some time to just sit. And man, I just started asking him questions. My grandfather was never an accomplished man. He came from Puerto Rico, moved to New York. From New York, came to North Philly. Just worked at factories his whole life. Nothing special. Provided for his family. That's all he did. No big accomplishments. No group of friends. No, he just worked hard. Once he retired, he took care of the house, and that was it. So I asked him. I say, "Hey, man," because remember the fulfillment thing to me. I said, "Do you feel fulfilled? Not having traveled the world, not having that." He said, "Listen, I die tomorrow, and I know I was always me, and I always cared about providing for my family. And what my family has grown into, I don't need nothing else." That was the most powerful thing, most impactful thing I probably heard because,
Mm.
you know, you don't, I don't think people think about family that much. Like they do, everybody talks about their family, love their family, but you have to really understand. I'm big on family. Like, some of us come from messed up families. And so when I say families, it doesn't necessarily have to mean the family you came from. It can be the family you create.
Mm.
So, you know, the fact that not only did he do things for his family, but he was always true to himself, man.
Mm.
That's major, man. He don't have a regret because he lived life on his terms. He didn't need money and all those type of things. So that's why you don't need those things. But make sure it's your decision. Like me, I don't need certain things, but I know me. I know me. I'm true to myself. Myself means, hey, I know the lifestyle I want to live. So if I don't do that, I will feel unfulfilled. And it's not just about money, it's about a lifestyle that the way I want to live. So living on your terms, what do you decide is the life you want? And just going to execute on that, but you got to really think about it. So that was big for me, was him knowing he was like, he just lived the way he decided to.
That's powerful, man. That's amazing, honestly. And I think that, that was deep, for the both of you guys just to share something you guys can just remember a year from now or so, or, however long it may be. But I just think you're right, man. Family, is something we always have to value. And it's not always about the bloodline, but it's also about those who we come across and we just build a real genuine relationship with, man. You just talk about anything. um, and you just know that like you guys may have some disagreements, which is a part of life, but you guys come to agreement, and it's just so that you guys know that this didn't happen a week or overnight. This happened within time and in your journey. So I think that's big, man. And I wanted to ask, man, a key question I always ask is, when it's all said and done, man, what do Joshua Cuevas mostly remember for?
Like I said, man, I think about those last seconds all the time. So, and like I said, with all the people in my life that have come and gone, um, memories means a lot to me. There's a quote that says, "You die two deaths. The first, when you take your last breath. The last time your name is spoken."
Mm.
And that quote means the world to me. You know, I just I want people to be able to just look back and be like, man, that guy was him. He ain't try to be nobody. He was him, and he was good to people. He was good to people, and that's all I need, man. I just want people to know I was genuine to myself and genuine to them. My heart was always in the best place. I do my best to, you know, have my heart with the best intentions with things, and listen, I'm straightforward, man. If we in a relationship because it's a money relationship, I'm gonna tell you, hey, we're here to do business. I'm not here to be your best friend. You know what I mean? But if it's a case that's not the case, you'll know it. You'll know it. I just try to shoot straight with everybody. So I think that's how I want to go, man. I want people just, just be genuine to themselves, and I just want that to be my example. That I was true to me. I never let nobody else dictate who I would be. I never let, like I said, I'm from the hood. The people don't look like me in the hood, you know. Gangsters really walking around North Philly, in suits and stuff like that. So it was hard for me to stand out, but that's who I wanted to be. And I was like, I don't care what nobody say. I was always firm in who I was. I always knew. I don't care. You say something to me, I already know who I am. So you can't knock me off of that pivot. So that's it.
My man. Josh, if you can just lead the people off with your social media, your website, if you at the moment hiring any of your businesses, man, for those that's listening to that's in maybe in Philadelphia or New Jersey, just similar areas nearby, that'd be good too, man. And
Sure.
just one of your favorite quotes of all time, that'd be dope.
Gotcha, man. All right, so my Instagram is J_Cuevas, Cuevas 319. Facebook is Joshua Antonio Cuevas. I have several websites, so you can reach out to me and see which one. I'm actually going to be launching a campaign and some websites in the next couple of weeks of this date going into 2020. A big campaign that I'm hoping to, engage and help over 20,000 entrepreneurs around the world. Man, that is my mission, and that is the mission this year. But besides that, my favorite quote would be how I started it, man, which is constant pursuit of progress, not perfection. Keep getting better, people. Just keep getting better for yourself. That's all.
I love that, man. Thank you, bro. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you was tuned in today, I would love for you to go ahead and go to iTunes. Kindly go to the Inspire Before We Expire. Leave us a review. What intrigued you mostly from this interview with Mr. Joshua Cuevas, guys. Honestly, feel free to reach out to him via social media, Instagram, Facebook as well. Stay tuned for everything that he has up and coming. Honestly, this guy is doing some amazing work, but most importantly, giving back to those who need it mostly. And just I just really enjoyed this interview. I received so much from it, so I know you did as well. So it's all about, guys, when a cup is empty, it doesn't stay empty, because when you have those who can fill it, that's when we always become filled. The tank can never get empty. So I think it's big. This is an Inspire Before We Expire. Guys, go ahead and follow my guy Joshua Cuevas. Subscribe to everything that he has going on. Follow his mission, and stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. Much love. God bless. And this is Inspire Before We Expire, and we're out. Woo!
Thank you, my man.
Hey, you're welcome, bro.